Hi, I'm here. This is the story. It was late September. The air was cooler now. Just after 9 p.m., I was walking home from the grocery store, pushing my cart along the sidewalk. I had picked up some things from my mom. She'd been sick, so I wanted to surprise her with dinner. But as I walked, I heard a strange sound behind me, the squeak of a tricycle. I turned and saw a boy riding toward me on a red tricycle. He must have been about 10 years old. His skin was very pale, and his hair was messy and black. On the tricycle basket were about a dozen snow globes. They were all different sizes, and none of them had any prices or a sign saying they were for sale. The boy was quiet, but when he got close enough, he asked me, "You want one?" I didn't really want one, but one of the snow globes caught my eye. It had a tiny house inside. I couldn't believe it. It was the exact same house as mine. The little house we had moved into 3 years ago. It had the same porch. It had the same mailbox, and even the light in my bedroom window was on. It was a little creepy, but also kind of cool. I asked the boy how he did it, how he made the snow globe. He just smiled at me and shook his head. Then he said, "They're always right," which didn't make sense, but I bought the snow globe anyway. I gave him $1, he took it, and then he started to pedal away without looking back. That night before bed, I had to look at the snow globe again. I just had to. It was sitting on my bedside table, and I could see the tiny house inside. But now the little light in the bedroom window was flickering. And then I saw a tiny figure moving around inside the house. It looked exactly like me. It was like a miniature version of me in the little house. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what it looked like. I shrugged it off. I figured it was just a weird snow globe. I put it on my shelf and tried to sleep, but I couldn't. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to a sound, the squeak of a tricycle. I sat up in bed and looked out the window. It was a sound that wouldn't stop. The boy was there. He was standing by my window and he was smiling at me. I screamed and hid under the covers. Then I started to cry because I knew he wasn't really there. I knew it was just a dream, but still, I felt so scared. And when I finally went back to sleep, I dreamt of snow globes and tricycles and a boy with messy black hair. When I woke up in the morning, sunlight streamed through my window. It was a beautiful day. So I got up and walked to my shelf to look at the snow globe. Maybe I could take it back to the store, explain what happened last night. But when I reached for the snow globe, I noticed something. There were no longer tiny houses inside. Instead, there were tiny versions of everything in my room, my bed, my dresser, my closet. But there was no sign of the boy. I searched the whole room, but I couldn't find him anywhere, and I checked my phone. It was just after 9 a.m., the exact time I had seen him yesterday. Now, this is where the story gets strange, because after that, I started to see things out of the corner of my eye, like a flash of black hair or the squeak of a tricycle. I would turn around, but I couldn't see anyone. I felt like I was going crazy. So I took the snow globe back to the store. I walked right past the manager and out the door. I needed to get away from the snow globe, away from the tricycle, away from the boy. I didn't know why. I just knew I had to get away. Then as I walked down the street, I saw a group of kids on tricycles. They were all boys, and they were all about 10 years old. And I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but when I looked at their hands, I could swear they were all holding snow globes.